Tonight is a final audition of sorts for quarterback Trey Ford. You know he wants to have a big game. The pending free agent is making his second straight start, getting the reins in the season finale for the Edmonton Elks. And with their playoff fates already sealed, the Argos resting Chad Kelly tonight and turning back to Cameron Dukes at quarterback, who began the season as Toronto's starter. And with that, we welcome you here inside the TSN studio, our final Friday night football of the season. I'm your host, Laura Dykin. We've got Enoch Mwamba, Davis Sanchez, as well as Milt Stiegel. Doubleheader Friday. Obviously, the West and all of the playoff scenarios there will be figured out tomorrow. The East, that happened last week as the Argos locked up second spot. We know they'll be taking on Ottawa next Saturday in that Eastern semifinal. This is a team that's hitting its stride, right? Has won 3 in a row, 4 of its last 5. Although the game against Ottawa last week didn't end how they would have liked, they still got the win there. And now, are they one of the most dangerous teams? How dangerous, I guess, is this team going into the playoffs?
I think they're extremely dangerous, Laura. They have a team that is playing well at the perfect time of the season. They hit their strides. Obviously, we know the situation with Chad Kelly coming into middle of the season, and he understands and he's starting to lead this team the way that they knew he could. And the thing that is most dangerous for me with this team is this defense. I mean, they had 2 signature wins over the last 3 games that they had against Winnipeg and Montreal, 2 of the top teams in this league. And against Winnipeg, they shut down the running game and they shut down the passing game. So if they're able to go like that through the playoffs, this is going to be a hard team to beat, Chad.
It's that combo. You said it. Their defense, they have a front 4 that can get there. One of the best pass rushers in the game, and then Jake with the flow, and then Jake in the middle. And then the secondary is, they've given up some plays, but we know they're a playmaking group. So I take that, the fact that their defense can make plays, they can also shut folks down, and then their quarterback right now, if I could take one guy, because of his playmaking ability, because of a guy who's been there most of the year or the last half of the year, I like what Chad's doing right now, and I like what he brings to the playoffs. I know there's a little bit of, what happened last year in the playoffs, but I'll tell you one person who's probably not worried about it, and that's Chad Kelly.
Yeah, not at all. And it's been pretty amazing what that defense has been able to do. They got 2 defensive coordinators, Will Fields and Kevin Ivan. Both of those guys are deserving of being a defensive coordinator. And I knew this defense was going to be great this year. And now Chad Kelly seems to be back to playing in the form that made him the MOP last year. And if that's the case, like I said last week, if I'm every other team in the playoffs, I'm concerned. Because if he's playing back at that level with the way this defense has played all year long, it's a problem. These Argos can get in the playoffs and beat any and everyone. So, in my opinion, it's on Chad Kelly's back. If he can play well, they can do some damage.
Big arm and can make plays with his legs, athletic. He just does a lot.
Yep. We won't see the full arsenal of the Argos here tonight. You would think they're going to be resting a lot of players in anticipation of the playoffs getting underway for them next weekend. But speaking of dangerous players, they better have a game plan for this guy, Geno Lewis, who has scored a receiving touchdown in 7 straight games. That's a new team record, 3 off the CFL record. And if he can make it 8 in a row tonight, he'll time with one of our panelists here. They put the date in, Milt. I didn't want them to. We could have just put question marks in there. But, I mean, 8 games in a row with a touchdown catch?
Oh, no. Toronto, pass interference. I'll pay you off. Don't let him get it. I'm just joking. Go get it, Geno, baby. Go get it.
Week 11 was the last time he didn't have a receiving touchdown. We've got kickoff from Edmonton, Alberta's capital, right after this.
Bring the fans out, it's the moment they've been waiting for. Beat you down and broadcast it to the nations. Yeah, so go and put your hands up. I'ma score then make the crowd stand up. Yeah, you only get one chance, so when the game is on, then it's time to man up. You can't play, gotta get tough. Ain't no surrender when you go against us, no. You can't play.
To Save On Foods' $1 million touchdown to win. If a kickoff is returned for a TD, you could win groceries for a year. If 2 are returned in this game, you could also win $1 million. Sounds pretty good. Good luck, Brett. And it's time to get the second game of this doubleheader, the final week of this regular season, underway.
Friday night football tonight.
The final Friday night football game of the regular season brings us to Commonwealth Stadium, Edmonton, as the Argos roll into town to face the Elks. Toronto heating up at just the right time. They've won 3 in a row. Edmonton, not so much. They start the season 0-7. They will miss the playoffs, but we get another look at Trey Ford tonight.
Yeah, they went 0-7 before they made the decision to go with Trey Ford as the starter. That was in early August against Saskatchewan. He won that game, and then in the second start versus BC, had the lead when he was injured. McLeod Bethel-Thompson finished that game. His third win to make him 3-1 was last week versus Calgary. Cameron Dukes will start. He, of course, started the season for the Argos, went 4-4 out of the gate while Chad Kelly was serving his suspension, and one of those wins early was against Edmonton.
Ryan Dinwiddie on the road this season, 3-5. Will not have to worry about that, at least to start the playoffs, as they will host the East semifinal. Jarius Jackson, is this his final game as interim head coach of the Edmonton Elks? Maybe something to prove for him in this game tonight. Toronto wants to come through this one healthy. Edmonton would like to finish the season on a high note. Herzlo on the return. Makes a pretty nice move. Gets it all the way out beyond the 40 to start this football game for the Toronto Argos.
Yeah, Cameron Dukes will play for Chad Kelly tonight. He has completed 72% of his passes in that 4-4 start to the season. First two games were wins for Cameron Dukes coming out of training camp versus the BC Lions, and as I mentioned, the Edmonton Elks in game 2.
They'll start on their own 43. Met way back in June. 39-36 Toronto victory. Quick tackle made on the first completion of the ball game that goes to Dejan Brissett.
Take a look at a young left tackle out of the University of Calgary, John Boss, who gets a start over there, and he'll be up against Noah Curtis and Elliott Brown. Watch that matchup throughout this game. Up for Rookie of the Year, Mackay Polk, close to 1,000 yards. Have to have a good game tonight to get there. Just shy of 100.
John Boss at left tackle, third-round pick, 25th overall in this 2024 draft. Near side, first down. Coxie gets involved early in this one against the Edmonton defense.
Got to start the leader up front in the defensive line in the sack department. Elliott Brown has 7 on the season, and if you take Niles Morgan and Nick Anderson's tackles and combine them, it's over 200. It's a good linebacking core, top linebacking core in the league, really. And then you look back at the safety position, that's the leader in interceptions in Luchez Purefoy.
20 interceptions among those 5 guys this season. First and 10 from the 52, and they'll hand it off right at the middle. Out of Boye. Gets about 3, maybe 4 yards on that first down carry.
So Cameron Dukes gets some valuable playing time as the Argos prepare for their playoff game versus Ottawa. Montreal has been sitting in that first place spot for a few weeks now in the East Division, but every rep important for a lot of different reasons. Chad Kelly will watch from the sideline. And this Argo team, as you mentioned off the top, 3 wins in a row. They win tonight, they're going into the playoffs hot.
Yeah, 4 of their last 5, 3 in a row. Good sample size on Dukes this year. 4 wins, 4 losses. Gets that 9th game tonight and has another completion. That one down inside the 40 as he goes back to Coxie once again.
Real nice timing on this throw from Cameron Dukes to Coxie as he can run that dig route. See him looking him right at him. Sometimes when you look right at the defender, and that time it was Darius Bratton, the halfback of the deep defender, look right at him, it freezes him. Couple first downs in field goal position.
Dukes completing just over 71% of his passes coming into this game. He started the game 3 for 3. Mital now takes it, pushes it ahead. And another decent enough pickup on first down.
So they went into BC, the Argos, beat the Lions pretty handily, 33-17. And that got them started on that 4 wins in the last 5 game streak, including 3 in a row against Montreal, Winnipeg, and Ottawa. All playoff teams.
Yeah, a couple very impressive wins mixed in there. They'll need 6 more here from the Edmonton 33. 3 options. Wide side left for Dukes. 1-on-1 down the field. That's caught just inside the 5. No, batted away. Excellent focus from Kai Gray to make sure Coxie couldn't haul that one in.
Yeah, what a great matchup out here. Coxie and Kai Gray, they're going to go head-to-head in the one-on-one, and Kai Gray up in that press position. And he's beat off the line of scrimmage, but he doesn't give up on it. Gets the left hand out, reads the eyes of Coxie as he looks for that ball and reaches to it. The left hand comes out and knocks the ball away.
So 3rd and 6. Arlahu in. A 40-yarder from the right hash. That is up, and it is wide left. And that'll be brought back out by Javon Leake, who takes it to the 10, the 14. A flag on the play. So Toronto comes up empty. Rare miss from Arlahu, who's been excellent so far this season. Trey Ford, another look at him when we return.
Tell me act normal, tell me follow me. Said I lost my way, said I lost my mind. Everybody panic when it's up for time. Don't give me mine. Read the signs,
Step into the action with CFL Game Zone. Play games, win prizes, and connect with fans from across the world. Join the ultimate CFL fan experience today at gamezone.cfl.ca.
Trey Ford, 3-1 on the season. Here's a look at his last game against Calgary.
And take a look at that game. He leads the Elks to a win there, 23-18 in that one, completing a good high percentage of his passes from the pocket. But Trey Ford, one of the most elusive quarterbacks in the league, and those guys make it happen with his legs. In fact, the rushing aspect of this offense really exploded when Trey Ford got that first start back in August.
He's completed 73% of his passes so far this season. They'll start it on the ground, right up the middle, 4 yards on that first down pickup.
His offensive line has quietly played very well. I didn't highlight any of them because they've been a great unit up front. In fact, they lead the league in sacks allowed. Now, part of those games, 4 of them anyway, 4 starts, Trey Ford was their quarterback. Tough to get him with no offensive line for any defense. And Eugene Lewis has got 7 games in a row with a major. I mean, that's some kind of list. He's close to a CFL record.
New franchise record set in their last game. Quick completion out to the 15. That'll be enough for a first down as Tevin Jones gets involved early.
I think one of the best defensive linemen in the league that maybe doesn't get enough pub is Florin Remilade, who for the Argos has 6 quarterback sacks. Ceresna leads the team, but Remilade seems to just wreck games for other offenses. Jack Cassar will get the start in the middle as they rest Winton McManus at middle linebacker, and Royce Metier, not necessarily what you want or draw up as a defensive coordinator, but he leads the team in tackles
by a significant margin. He's got 78 on the season. Here's Ford on the run, out to his left, trying to himself, and he'll be pushed out of bounds just outside the 20, so makes something out of nothing there.
So the only game that Trey Ford lost was against, as a start, was against the Winnipeg Blue Bombers. Lots of teams have lost to the Winnipeg Blue Bombers this year, and when you add up Trey Ford starts over the last 3 seasons here in Edmonton, you can add up all the other quarterbacks that have started over that period of time, and they don't have the same number of wins as Trey Ford. He has 8. All of them combined in the last 3 years have 6.
Looking to throw here, a little sidearm action, and that'll be a first down, a little bit more as well, all the way out to about the 34-yard line, and Gino Lewis gets involved with his 70th catch of the season.
You know, and I know that McLeod Bethel Thompson put up some big numbers. I mean, McLeod's well over almost 4,000 yards passing on the season. But again, was the starter for that 0-7 start. So, you know, at the end of the day, quarterbacks are measured really by wins and losses. And Trey Ford, 3-1 this year, only loss was to the Winnipeg Blue Bombers. And 8 wins in the last 3 years, more than the rest combined.
batted down at the 40 as they were looking to get it into the hands of Jermaine Smith. Eugene Lewis on that last catch, by the way, went for 12 yards. He's now 6 yards shy of a 1,000-yard season. 9 touchdowns, as you mentioned, 7 receiving touchdowns in his last 7 games. Franchise record. Had a rushing touchdown in that last game as well. He has been steady once again
as advertised.
Team. All 17 games this season. He's been there for him. Ford throwing on 2nd and long. Takes off on the run now. Makes one man miss. Scrambling ahead. He's got the first down. And after he secures that, a slide for good measure.
Well, when you want to widen to try and keep him in contain, you open up middle run lanes. Look at Rimalotti, how wide he is. Both defensive ends. Now just 3-man pressure, so they've got a spy, but the spy doesn't pick it up. He makes the spy miss. Escape up the middle.
As Kenneth George Jr. tried to keep an eye on him there. Couldn't bring him down. Instead, it's a first down. Edmonton's up to their own 45, 1st and 10. On the ground this time. Rankin waits, turns it back up. Picks up positive yardage, but likely just one.
How about this team rushing the football? In early August to the end of September, that was about 8 games for Edmonton. They rushed for 1,400 yards over that time. That's 175 yards per game. It really started with Javon Leake against Saskatchewan. He had a big game with 3 touchdowns over at Mosaic, but you know, it coincided with the start for Trey Ford, who won that game against Saskatchewan, or got the win as a starter.
3 different running backs with over 500 yards. Ford in trouble again, escapes down the field, wide open, 1,000-yard season for Gino. Fights off 1 tackle at the 50 and lunges ahead. Nice play by the young quarterback out on the run.
Yeah, and you know, it's a play that, I'm just going to say it, it's a play and a throw that not many guys can make at this level. I don't care what side of the border. It's hard to get outside and throw on the run like that. It pulls Eugene Lewis back to the football a little bit. He's running full speed and has to get that ball out there on that low curl with a guy right in his face. Tough throw to make.
30 yards already in this game for Lewis. Now they'll hand it off to Rankin. Pushes it ahead. Tried to get to the 40. Was drilled back at the 41. Rankin averaging 8.7 yards per carry this season.
Yeah, 86 carries and 8 yards a carry. I mean, like, come on. That's crazy. Now, the leaders, and that's Brady Oliveira and William Stanback in BC, Brady Oliveira in Winnipeg, the leaders are, you know, up there at 200 carries. And Rankin has 86, but at 8 yards a carry. Wow. 86, still a bunch of carries. That average should go down as he gets the ball more.
2nd and 5, far side. Lewis again, and that'll be just short of a first down.
Yeah, the ball, just a quick timing out here for Lewis and Gino Lewis, and the ball kind of brings him back. He's at the marker, but in order to continue to separate from McFadden, Trey Ford tried to bring him back a little bit, and that will make him a little short of the first down.
I'd like to welcome our viewers joining us now on TSN 1 and 5 after a thrilling finish in that Ottawa-Hamilton game. Red Blacks wrap up their regular season with a victory. Far side, that's batted down on 3rd and 1. It'll be a turnover on downs. Kenneth George Jr. broke on that ball very well.
What a great break on the football downhill. He knew it was going to be a short throw, high percentage throw, at least that's what the plan is offensively here. Just a quick out from the inside, and what a great break on the ball. Cut underneath with confidence, and Kenneth George Jr. almost had himself a pick.
Cameron Cameron Dukes getting the start for the Argos tonight. Had a pretty good drive to start the game that ended with a missed field goal. He's 4 for 5 in the early going. He'll have the ball when we return. No spoiler. No, I didn't spoil anything. Okay. Yeah. You know what? It was awful. Be surprised for yourself. Dukes under pressure. Can he escape the pile? No, he's going to be taken down at the 30. Everybody was in on that one. Elliott Brown, Nick Anderson, among others.
Yeah, 6-man pressure coming, and only 6 to block, but one of them is the back at Deontay McMahon. We're going to see much of, or probably none of, Kadeem Carey is starting tailback for the Argos, but overwhelmed the blocking scheme with lots of pressure there. Number 8 for Brown.
Team leading 8th sack of the season, as Suits mentioned. Dukes bouncing around the pocket, looking for something. Now he'll escape, has some space, looking for the first down, got it. Takes it just outside the 50, and then wisely steps out of bounds.
He can run now. I mean, 55 carries for almost 300 yards coming into this game, and 4 touchdowns. I mean, that's when he was starting in that 4-4 start for the Argos, and you know, showed us that he can use his legs and break down defense.
There's a lot of talk about expected quarterback movement around the league this offseason. Dukes has put together half a season of game tape himself here, right? He's got some decent film. 4-4, making his 9th start. There's an injured Edmonton Elk down on the field just inside the 30. It's Noah Curtis. He's missed some time recently. Athletic therapists out there to chat with him. We will step away. Nice season for Curtis. 6 sacks out of Kaiser University.
This program is extremely important to give women an opportunity to get their foot in the door.
I absolutely would never have had an opportunity like this had the program not been available.
Camp has provided me with a lot of hands-on exposure that I didn't think I would get.
There's nothing really like that feeling when you get goosebumps after a game-winning play. So I wanted to have a career where I could help make those moments happen.
It gives women a chance to make a difference that we might not have otherwise been given, which is amazing.
Well, as the regular season gets set to wrap up, here's a look at the award winners and nominees moving forward from the Argos. That most outstanding rookie, Makai Polk, boy, has he burst onto the scene this year.
Yeah, I think he's in the conversation to win that award.
The passer, Edmonton number 97. 15-yard penalty, automatic first down.
It's DeMarcus Christmas, called for roughing the passer.
Take a look at DeMarcus Christmas. It was an avoidable hit. Not a whole lot to it, but he could have avoided that contact after the ball was gone.
After the penalty, his drive moves down to the Edmonton 33. Dukes, who started the game 5 of 6, 4 receivers out to the right. They're going to run it to the left and tripped up and down. McMahon had a nice little burst there when he first got his hands on that ball, but got tripped as he cut to the middle.
Well, he had a really nice cutback lane here because the blocking scheme is going this way, and he was going to make that cut back into the backside of the play, and then I think he tripped on his own man, on his teammate, because he had the block set up. Look at that lane that was available. One more man missed, but I think he tripped on his pulling tackle right there.
So he only got a yard. It's 2nd and 9, a throwing situation for Dukes. 3 to the right, 3 to the left. He's under pressure, and he's taken down, but a flag at the end of this play as well. Elliott Brown be sack number 9. 2nd of the game, but
Let's get the flag here. Major foul, roughing the passer, Edmonton number 41. 15-yard penalty, automatic first down.
Well, there's a stunt here on the defensive line. Brown's on the outside. He's going to end up looping inside and hitting that gap right there. I thought it may have been a taunting call after the fact, but I guess it's helmet to helmet.
Helmet to helmet, I guess.
Targeting up high. Tough for him to make that adjustment though on the fly with a quarterback that's, you know, at that height. He's 6'1". They're at the same level.
Dukes had it and went down awkwardly, didn't he?
Yeah, something.
Yeah, that was a non-contact injury. As he just faked to the flat and then took off up the middle and stopped immediately.
He's gonna try and then, yeah. Cramp maybe?
Maybe he stayed in. That was bizarre. Got a yard out of it. 2nd and 9. 4 receivers out to his right side. Looks to the left. Throws in that direction. And it falls incomplete. And Dukes will be very slow to get up once again.
Yeah, he took another big hit here. Not sure which number, but let's take a look at Dukes on this hit because it's a low one. That's a penalty as well. You know, Daniel Joseph, the former Argo, coming off the edge. Yeah, they're going to warm up Nick Arbuckle.
Tough drive physically for Dukes. Aralahu missed earlier. Been excellent so far this season. This is 23 yards straight away, no problem. Puts it home, and Toronto is on the board. They lead 3-0 with 65 seconds left in the first quarter. Friday night flashback as we go back to the Grey Cup in 2022. Just an absolutely amazing finish between the Argos and the Bombers in Toronto, who got right hot at the right time that year. Is it the same thing this year? Let's send it down to Tom Gazzola.
Dusty, I asked Ryan Didwoody about that. Are there a lot of similarities compared to 2022, that nice Grey Cup run that the Argos went on, winning 9 of their last 11? They've got 3 in a row right now. He says he likes the way the team has been practicing the last 6 weeks. They've sharpened up. He did say, though, that fourth quarter against Ottawa last week was a good reminder that they need to be better on defense. He thought they were a little bit too aggressive, and then mentioned that the special teams got caught in a few plays as well. But overall, he says, yeah, there are some similarities to 2022, but this team has its own character, its own identity, and it's trying to carve its own path to the Grey Cup this year.
Never a bad idea to be that team that gets hot in the second half of the year. Look at Montreal last year, Toronto the year before.
Yeah, no question. You know, and I think the Argos could make some noise in the playoffs. I really do. You know, you look at their defense, especially their front seven. Now, the one playing here tonight is their longest reception of the year for Javon Leake.
67-yard strike to Leake. Trey Ford's at 112 yards passing, and that is blown wide. Vincent Blanchard handling the kicking duties for Edmonton today. Misses his first crack at the extra point. Ford drops it in over the shoulder for Leake, and he was not going to be caught.
Everyone has different backgrounds, and I think that is very important that all backgrounds get represented.
Being somebody who represents diversity, I love to see it when we're giving those people opportunities and allowing them to grow.
It's getting to know people who have different point of view about the game of football, but it's also coming with your own perspective, your own point of view, and then what you can bring.
You get a lot of support, a lot of friendships, a lot of amazing memories.
It's something that I would do 100 times over.
Welcome back to Commonwealth. Edmonton leads 6-3. The first quarter ends with a bang, a big touchdown strike to Javon Leake from Trey Ford.
Yeah, concern for the Argos is the health of Cameron Dukes. We'll see how he took a couple of shots in that last series for the Argos offensively, finished with a field goal. But what a play by Trey Ford, recognizing the defense, using Gino Lewis as a decoy and finding Javon Leake down the field. Watch how Gino Lewis is going to draw attention here. This is the route combination. Lewis from that short side wideout position comes in and draws attention from the defense. Stop it here. So two defenders now moving up to try to cover Gino Lewis on the crossing route. And Javon Leake sneaks out of the backfield. The nice touch on the throw from Trey Ford, and goodbye.
Edmonton leads 6-3. Nice return shaping up here, all the way back to midfield. Jake Herslow puts him in a nice field position.
Really good recognition for Trey Ford. I love the play call, though, to get Javon Leake out of the backfield as a receiver. But the recognition and the ball location, drop it in there so Javon Leake does not have to break stride. That's why he was able to outrun all the defensive angles, including Royce Metier coming from the safety spot, because he caught that in stride. No one was catching.
Nick Arbuckle into the game at quarterback for Toronto as this drive starts in the Edmonton 52, and he'll be throwing right away. And that's up just outside the 45 as he finds DeVaris Daniels, the veteran.
Arbuckle got the one start against the Calgary Stampeders, got the win in that one back in August.
Spent some time in Edmonton in 2022, a couple years ago. Now third on the depth chart in Toronto. Second and 4, 3 to the left, 3 to the right. Looks down the middle, big collision, but the ball is held onto by Coxie, his third catch of the ball game. Felt that one. Gonna want this guy healthy for the postseason. Nick Anderson delivering blow after blow all season long. There was another. That doesn't look good, does it, Suits?
Oh, not at all.
Ooh. Got the first down, paid the price to do it. Toronto will work from the Edmonton 33. Hand it off, pushing it out inside the 30. Out of Baboye, handling the running back duties for now for Toronto.
And 56 carries on the season coming into this one, so they also have 3 very, very capable tailbacks, and Kadeem Carey, Deontay McMahon, and Adebaboye. But boy, the concern for the Argos, they don't want to lose. Cameron Dukes is a backup, yes, but an important one in case anything happened to Chad Kelly early in a playoff game.
Second and 6, Arbuckle, end zone shot, drops it in there, and it's held on to Jake Herslow, hauls it in.
Out of Houston, last year spent some time with the Saskatchewan Roughriders, spent some time with the Seattle Seahawks before that, getting a chance to get some playing time in this game that doesn't change anything in the standings and then the playoff picture for the Argos, but An opportunity with Coxie out. Takes full advantage of it.
First CFL touchdown for Herslow. And Toronto takes a 4-point lead in Edmonton. Arbuckle wastes no time finding the end zone. The 26-year-old Herslow hauls it in.
Step into the action with CFL Game Zone. Play games, win prizes, and connect with fans from across the world. Join the ultimate CFL fan experience today at gamezone.cfl.ca.
Behind him just enough, and Arbuckle put it right on the numbers.
Third passing touchdown of the season for Arbuckle. This kick will be taken just inside the 20 by Purifoy, and he spins it back out beyond the 35.
So Herslow's got, it's nothing fancy, really a go route here, but watch the subtlety in the route running to put Kai Gray off his balance a little bit. Watch his hand. See right there, he knocks the hand down, and that gives him just a little bit of room in behind Gray, put him off balance just slightly, and that little slap with the hand got him a yard of separation. That's all he needed for a touchdown.
All right, a change at quarterback for Edmonton as well, as Daggy has come into the game. We're going to see Trey Ford for a quarter.
Edmonton number 67. 5-yard penalty.
Yeah,
remains first down.
I've gone 3 years with scratching my head on some of the decisions, but listen,
I thought maybe they'd each get a half or something like that. Maybe, I don't know, maybe they switch it up again. That seems weird.
Well, here's the thing. I mean, this team is out of the playoffs, and there's, that the roster will look different. Teams that are not in the playoffs, they know there'll be change over there. You mentioned Jarius Jackson and his job as a temporary head coach right now. Does he get it back? We're not sure.
Here's Daggy in trouble. Gobbled up and taken down. Nowhere to go on that one. Parrish, 6th sack of the season.
But Trey Ford is a free agent at the end of the season.
It's interesting here in Edmonton because they've got a lot of really good pieces, but also are going to see some significant change in key spots.
Well, I think if they can keep their core together, and they've got to figure out the quarterback spot. Are they going to believe in and create an offense for that guy? One that suits his skill set? Or are they going to move on and Trey Ford will move elsewhere in free agency?
10-yard loss. Daggy, 2nd and 20. Misses everybody, and that one drops just outside the 45. Daggy saw some action last year. 587 yards, 4 touchdowns, 4 interceptions. Has been around this year, but it's been McLeod, Bethel Thompson, and Trey Ford for the entire season.
I may not be surprised to see a little Dakota Prukop tonight, too. But, yeah. These young players that are making plays for Edmonton, and if they can keep this core together, it could be a pretty tough team to beat next year. This was going to be Cordell Jackson that actually rips the ball out here with help on the hit from Nick Anderson, but it's Jackson who has also had a great rookie season. 4 interceptions on the season for him, 8 passes defended, and now a forced fumble and fumble recovery.
You got no help inside.
All right, so that'll be handed off to Rankin, and he takes it out on the far side. Rankin, another rookie, who was here in training camp. They used him as a receiver in camp, didn't really work, and then brought him back and said, hey, do you want to be a running back? And it's worked out pretty well.
Well, let's talk about their offense now. Again, the Elks, to me, are team sort of best equipped right now to get a great start to next season. They have to figure out the quarterback position, but after that, this is a good group. I mean, Tevin Jones, if they can get Geno Lewis back, Curly Gittins, Dylan Mitchell, that's a receiving core now.
Back to Rankin again, pushes it up to midfield.
Got off to such a tough start, lost a lot of those games early on by, less than one possession. I mean, talking 3-point games that just didn't go their way. McLeod Bethel Thompson started all 7 of those games, put up some big numbers. I mean, I think his first 3 games, he was over 300-yard passing, but they couldn't find a way to get the win. The change was made. Chris Jones was fired. Jarius Jackson took over. There's a lot of talent on this Edmonton team.
2nd and 5 for Daggy, who's in the game. We have been told that Trey Ford is expected to come back in, and they'll alternate the quarterbacks throughout the game. Nowhere to go on this run for Rankin, and that'll bring up 3rd down.
Well, this is what I don't get, and whether it's Jarius Jackson, who was the offensive coordinator when Chris Jones was here anyway, so he was making a lot of those decisions. But putting a quarterback and switching them this time of year back and forth, series to series, I don't know that the quarterbacks would like that very much, to be honest with you. They're not going to say anything, obviously, about it. And waiting 7 weeks to try something new at the start of the year when they weren't getting any wins, and to not make the change until August to bring in Trey Ford, who got the first win of the season for them.
What a kick this is. That bounced inside the 1, came back. The flag on the play.
Shop over 1,000 new deals every week at Canadian Tire.
So I don't know. There's some of the quarterback decisions that have been made here in Edmonton, and that goes back for 3 years now. I showed you that right off the top. Just been a bit of a head scratcher in a lot of ways, but
the future of the quarterback position has to be determined once a president is announced.
Absolutely.
Once a general manager is hired, once a coach is hired, then you figure out who your quarterback is going to be. That's how it should logistically make sense, right?
Number 29.
Yes.
Number 29 was no yards.
And
29.
The free agent quarterback that will be, I would hope would be in that conversation with them, no matter who those new guys are, or if they're the same guys, has got to be Trey Ford, who becomes a free agent, and he's going to wait. I'm sure he's going to wait. I'd wait. See what the coaching staff looks like. See what the head office looks like. But they've got to do it quickly, because there's going to be some interesting quarterbacks that may be moved around. I mean, the BC situation, very interesting between Vernon Adams and Nathan Rourke. Davis Alexander in Montreal. I'm sure they would love to keep him, but I believe he is a free agent at the end of the season as well. So there's going to be, a chance for some movement. And again, you add a quarterback that this team believes in, gets behind, and is, has built an offense for them. They've got talent around them.
Here's Arbuckle down the field, and that is caught just outside the 40. Back to the rookie, Mackay Polk. There's a flag back by the line of scrimmage.
Halftime just around the corner. We'll be looking ahead to the Eastern semifinal as well, talking about the fight for the West. And if you missed it earlier, Paul LaPolice is wearing quite the Sioux jacket. Milt likes it so much, he's going to get one himself to get it back to Edmonton. No, it wasn't the best. Sorry, Paul.
Just share the jacket. One guy gets it one night, the other guy gets it the other night. 2nd and 5 here for Edmonton on their own 45. 2.5 to play. Daggy trying to escape the pocket, and that is hauled in. There'll be enough for a first down. Good catch from the rookie Zach Mathis, who we're getting to see here late in the season.
So you take a look at this Argo team. First of all, their defense, we've talked about. Their defensive line and front 7 led the league in sacks this year. I think they have one of the best middle linebackers in the game in Whitten McManus. not playing in this one. He's dressed tonight, but not playing in this game. One of the top defenders in Deshaun Amos in the secondary. And, you know, looking at their special teams, we talked about Hairolahu, but you go beyond that. There's a lot of great returners in the Canadian Football League. Mario Alford and Saskatchewan comes to mind immediately, but I think that maybe the best one is Janarian Grant.
Janarian Grant's got 3 punt return touchdowns this year and a kick return touchdown. He is a threat to take it the other way every single time you kick to him.
Yeah, and it's not just that too. He leads the league in punt return average. So even when they get scored upon, I think he's second in kick return average. So they get scored on, and he makes that return that gets him back to midfield. So the kicking game is there. The punting game certainly is. And with the big average, and then the return game is there. Defensive front 7 solid.
Procedure, Edmonton 59. 5-yard penalty, it remains second down.
I'm not saying the other team should be scared. I don't think you get scared at this level, but I am saying that the Argos, they've got a lot of talent, and you know this team could take a run in the playoffs.
They've won 4 of their last 5. If they can get it done in the second half here tonight, it would be 5 of 6 heading into the playoffs. It would be 6-3 in the second half of the season. And they have the 1 home playoff game against Ottawa next week, 7-2 at home this season. Here's Daggy, near side, looking for Dylan Mitchell, can't hang on, and that'll bring up 3rd down.
Benji Franklin, I think, on the coverage there, he's going to break on this ball and get that right hand in. A little bit of adjustment, or pulls Dylan Mitchell with the left hand, but it was after the ball had arrived. So no flag on the play.
Unger waits to return. This kick from Jake Julian, averaging 54.1, smashing the previous record from John Ryan back in 2005 of just over 50 for the season. This will hang up there.
Another monster kick.
That'll bounce it high and out of bounds at the 3. Oh, mark him at the 2. Nice. Great job again. La Liga juggernauts, Real Madrid and Barcelona set to face off at El Clasico. This is a big one, even I know that. Tune in tomorrow, 2 o'clock Eastern, 11 a.m. Pacific on TSN and TSN Plus. Madrid versus, I think sometimes they say, was it Barca? That's a big one. There's a flag. 15-yard penalty. Will go against Roderick. I'm moving up to the 17 after a great kick from Julian. Pinned him down at the 2. Arbuckle on the run, now turns it upfield. Polk's got it again, and he takes it outside the 35.
Kai Polk's going to get to 1,000. I mean, knock on wood, I don't want to jinx him by saying it just a little too early, but he's having himself a half here. Arbuckle threads the needle to get it in. A little close throw, but threads the needle to get it there. Polk does a little bit of yak yards after the fact.
11 yards away from a 1,000-yard season for Mackay Polk. 1st and 10 here for Arbuckle. Pressure coming, steps up and around it. Now he's on the run. There's a hold as he guns it down the field to Herslow, but this one will be coming back.
Holding. Toronto number 52. 10-yard penalty, remains 1st down.
Peter Nicastro, the center.
Nicastro, 4th year out of the University of Calgary.
Penalty-wise, the Argos have improved over last year. They were averaging almost 80 yards a game last year in penalties. This year, just over 60. That's middle of the league.
First and 20 here. Pressure in the face of Arbuckle again. They'll set up a screen for the running back, and he takes it all the way out to the 40. Adebaboye. Nice pickup on first down. Back within striking distance here in a second and manageable.
Most underused play in Canadian professional football is the screen to the tailback. Used to hate playing against it.
They need 7 more. Over the middle. Got it again. It's Polk, and that'll be a 1,000-yard campaign for Mackay Polk.
Boy, if you're Ryan Dinwiddie, you're almost thinking now, how do I rest him for the second half? Make sure he doesn't get nicked like we saw DeMonte Coxey get nicked in the first half or in the first quarter.
Polk again at the 45 this time. Tackle made. Kai Gray had seen enough. He wrapped him up immediately. 5th catch of the game for Polk. He's caught all the balls thrown in his direction so far. Now got 60 catches on the season in his rookie campaign out of Mississippi State. Arbuckle back to him again.
That brings coverage with it. 2 young guys. One of the 2 ran the wrong route. Tipped by Kai Gray right into his partner's hands. Darius Bratton came into the league together, have played together since they arrived, and Arbuckle saying those 2 receivers are not supposed to be that close together.
I feel like he almost needs to give half an interception to both of them there. Great play by Kai Gray to pop it up in the air, and Bratton takes it away. Now on the ground, pushing right ahead, it's Leak. He's got a first down as we see both Leak and Rankin mixed in at running back here tonight. 29 seconds remaining in the half.
Yeah, the Elks, the problem with Leak when they moved him to tailback and he had the big game against Saskatchewan, 3 touchdowns, 150 yards rushing, and then he became sort of the starting running back till he got nicked, and that's when Rankin came in. But Kevin Brown also part of that 3-headed monster. The problem with it for the Elks is it took their best returner off the special teams.
Edmonton, the only team in the league without a special teams or defensive touchdown this season.
Yeah, so when they brought Javon Leak to the offense, which I would agree with. I mean, you got to do that when he was playing as well as he was and has all season from that tailback spot. Then you take in your best returner now, and they basically did the returns by committee after they made that decision.
Well, we were talking about Janarian Grant. I mean, Javon Leak, the reason they brought him in here is because Edmonton's return game has struggled for about a decade.
Since
Giz brought him in. Yeah, well, you know what? That's not even a stretch, though.
I know, it isn't. And that was a long time ago.
They moved him into running back here, and he can certainly move. There's no doubt about that. We saw that on a touchdown he had earlier in this ball game, but that is going to do it for the first half. If you're the Argos, you lead here.
Well, if you're the Argos, you're concerned with Cameron Dukes and DeMonte Coxey's injuries. That's probably the #1 concern for Ryan Dinwiddie right now, but got to lead in the game on the road. And Nick Arbuckle's been most of the second quarter here.
Jake Herslow with his first touchdown in the Canadian Football League out of the University of Houston. It was a 29-yard strike, and he stands by with Art Tomkins.
Jake, you have your first career touchdown. Just take us through that play. A nice one there to get the ball in the end zone.
Yeah, you know, I pressed coverage. Nick gave me a good shot over the top, perfect pass, you know. We rep in practice, you know. It feels good to come out here, you know, get it done in the game.
What is the importance of the rest of this game in your mind? I know a lot of starters haven't been playing today, but how do you look at this last game going into the postseason?
You know, the team's on a mission. We're on a mission, you know. We got to keep the energy through the game. We're not taking this lightly, you know. We're not trying to just, you know, come out here and not give it our all. So we're going to give it our all. We're going to get this done, get the momentum for next week.
Jake, congrats on the TD, man.
Thank you. Thank you. More to come, baby.
All right, Jake Herslow there. First career touchdown. Let's throw it up to Laura and the panel.
I mean,
all right, and as the
if there's more to come, I mean, if there's a bet, should I bet for a touchdown for him in my app now?
Yes.
Okay, go ahead. Continue.
Although, if things don't work out well, then we'll 13-6 in the final regular season game for both of these teams. If you are just joining us now and you missed what happened in the first game of the doubleheader, don't worry, you're in luck because it was a wild finish in our nation's capital. The Red Blacks looking to snap a 5-game losing skid. It was Brendan O'Leary orange here. Bo Levi Mitchell tossing it up, and O'Leary orange coming down with a 44-yard gain. The seconds ticking down. And the Red Blacks defense coming up huge with not 1, not 2, but 3 stops at the goal line. It was Andre Litre getting the attempt every single time as the Red Blacks hang on for that 37-31 win. The question to you, Davis, how important was that win? Does it give this team some much-needed momentum now heading into the Eastern semifinal?
I want to say I absolutely hate that play call at the end. Yes. I think we all did. But you get the ball in Bo's hands. He's thrown for 400 yards. Let him throw the ball to end the game. But anyway, the season is finished, and that win is huge, and the reason for Ottawa, and the reason why is they need to get some momentum, something. Like what I keep saying when I think about this Red Blacks team in the playoffs, we know they're in, but they've struggled. What's the formula? How could they possibly beat the Argonauts team? And for me, it's going to be some unexpected guys making plays. Maybe it's Dedman in the kick return game. Dandridge, who's been a playmaking defensive back with a pick 6. Those type of things are how this team will win. Because when we look at this Argos team at full strength, I think it's a mismatch. But I do think if they can find some plays, some big plays on other places, they have a shot.
Yeah, it got the monkey off their back. You think about it, if they would have went into the playoffs losing 6 games straight, they would have been talking about more than just the playoffs. They would have been talking about, is it great? I mean, is it bad that you guys haven't won a game in, almost 2 months, but now they won a game? But they're going to need to play better than what they did today if they want to beat the Argonauts, especially on the defensive side. They gave up almost 500 total yards, so they have to play better if they want to beat the Argonauts.
No, absolutely. Throughout the course of the season, they showed some flashes of being a good team here and there, but not enough consistency, obviously, to be a dominant team in the East. But there were some flashes. Those are the good things. And you talked about it, Ches, early on today when you talked about things to hang your hat on. And this is one of those things right here. You go into next week, you can look back at, hey, look what we did in short yardage situations. Look what we did. We're able to pull off the victory. And they got to look at these things throughout the course of the season. There were a couple of good throws Drew Brown had throughout the course of the game as well. Those are the things they're going to look back at.
I just want to mention, something we all talked about and the game ended was how would they win? But Drew Brown being a playmaker. I think we all realize that their defense is not stout enough just to stop people. Drew Brown, they kind of have to live with Drew Brown being a playmaker or go out there, be super aggressive, be a playmaker because he has some of that in him, right?
Right.
And that's the way I think they would win.
Back-to-back 400-yard games for Drew Brown. And you think about what happened when these two teams met last week. And it was a 25-0 Ottawa Red Blacks outscoring Toronto, but Toronto did get that win. And Toronto with the lead here at the half. Regina next Saturday in the Western semifinal. But if the Bombers lose and the Riders win, it would be Saskatchewan taking the West. So, yes, a lot on the line tomorrow. And with more, Paul LaPolice now on that fight for the West in Coach's Playbook.
Laura, getting first place in your division is crucial to your success of moving on to the Grey Cup. I went back and looked at these all the way back to 2010 and looked at what teams. These are 8 teams that have upset the number 1 seeds. Happened 4 times in each division, 8 times overall, 30% of the time. So the teams that get first place, they win 70% of the time, they move on to the Grey Cup. Why does that happen, though? Why is it such an advantage? Here's a couple of points. Number 1, and this is a captain obvious, you only have to win 1 football game to go on to the Grey Cup. You don't have to play your best football in 2 different games. You play 1 game, you're moving on. That's a real simple one. Number 2, is home field advantage. Obviously, there's an advantage in a win-losses in home field advantage, but let's talk about the West. Both Winnipeg, Saskatchewan have loud crowds, fans that are going to be really making it difficult for an offense to operate. So both teams want to get home field advantage so they don't have to deal with all the crowd noise and the other things like that. But one of the most important things is that bye week. One, for players to get healthy, but two, as a coach, I would have taken the first 3 days of the bye and worked on one of the opponents. And I would take in the next 3 days, worked on the other opponent that we think we're going to face. Your coaching staff's going to meet. We're going to get prepared. So when we see who we're going to face, we've already got a game plan going. Now, the last time this has happened, an upset of the #1 seed in the East just last year. Montreal went into Toronto and upset them. Last time it's happened in the West, 2019. I was part of the Bombers squad that went into Regina and won that football game to be able to go on to the Grey Cup. So I'm looking forward to these 2 games tomorrow to figure out what's going to happen for first place for both of these divisions.
We weren't lying about the jacket, Mr. Jack O'Lantern. Yes, the Bombers going for their 4th West title in a row. You can see that game 3 p.m. Eastern on CTV. And, of course, the Riders will be cheering for Montreal, depending what happens in that first game. See how important this one will be between Calgary and Saskatchewan. Again, a Winnipeg win, and Saskatchewan knows it's hosting BC in the Western semifinal next weekend. So now you're all up to date when it comes to the West and what's on the line. We've got one more half to go in this one between the Argos and the Elks.
Edmonton trails 13-6 at the half. Those 6 points, a Javon Leake touchdown, his 7th touchdown of the season, and he stands by with our Tom Gazzola.
Javon, down 7 at the half. Just what would you say about that half of football that we saw from your group?
We just got to make some plays, some more plays, just continue to, follow the game plan. And just when the big plays is supposed to be made, we got to make them. And less penalties, man. I think penalties is really messing us up right now.
All right, last half of football for the season for you guys. How do you approach it? How does the team approach it?
Man, it's the last time we're going to be out here all together as this team, for this year against my old squad. So I'm going to take in the moment and just enjoy this last half of football.
Javon, appreciate the time.
All right, thank you, man.
Edmonton will have the ball to start the second half. They are 2-9 when trailing at halftime this season. This return brought ahead. There's a flag you saw fly in as Purifoy takes it out beyond the 40. We'll sort out that flag here.
Return, illegal block. Edmonton number 13. 10-yard penalty, first down.
Oh, that'll back it up. And
going back to Trey Ford.
Tag, you're it. Trey Ford comes back into the game.
Started the game. Got things going about midway through that second half. Made some of the Trey Ford style plays. Also threw nicely from the pocket, and the big touchdown to Javon Leake right here. And right after that throw, he was pulled.
Why do you think the strategy is not just give him the first half and then give Daggy the second half and instead alternate quarters?
My friend, there are questions sometimes that there's only one person that can answer that, and he's standing down on the Edmonton.
I like to ask the hard-hitting stuff. Yeah. First and 10 from the Edmonton 9. They'll start it on.
And I think that cost him the touchdown, but what a run.
Second and 12. Argos will bring a little bit of pressure. Ford gets it away, and that'll be caught. Good tackle made over there by Milton on the catch from Mathis. His 3rd catch of the game, and they'll be forced to kick a field goal here. Blanchard is in at kicker today. Final game of the season off for Beattie. Blanchard won the Vanier in 2022 with Laval. Second team All-Canadian last year, 94.4%. Missed that extra point earlier in the game. 19-yard field goal attempt here for Blanchard. And And that one is up and through.
I'm getting some oxygen, partner.
Javon Leake might need it too. 88 yards, and he gassed out at the end. What a run. For McMahon, back to the line of scrimmage, maybe a yard on the play. Purifoy was down at the line for the tackle.
I think they may be resting Makai Pope in this second half. Let some of these young guys get out there and get a little playing action.
Well, you already saw Coxie get banged up in the first half.
Coming into tonight's game, Kadeem Carey and this Argonaut team has led the league in rushing.
Kadeem Carey with the 1,000-yard season, just one 100-yard game. So just a steady 60, 75, 80 yards every single game from Kadeem Carey. Man with another carry here. I'll give him 3 yards.
Kadeem Carey is dressed tonight, but Ryan Dinwiddie does not want to have him go in the game and make sure he's got fresh legs for the playoffs. But yeah, I had to double check that stat that the Argos lead the league as a team rushing with 123.9 per game. Edmonton's number 2 at 123.8 per game.
So it's very close.
You think?
In fact, this game, that Javon Leake run may have changed the entire thing. This will be taken down inside the 20. Herslow makes the play.
How about Jake Herslow taking full advantage of his opportunities? Inside waggle and then just sits down. That's great recognition, understanding the defense he's playing against, that he's not going to run through the zone into somebody else's coverage area, and he just sits down in that little hole. And touchdown catch tonight. Nice first down there.
Yeah, 55 yards and the major. 1st and 10 from the Edmonton 17 for Arbuckle. On the run to his left, gets it away. Broken up, looking for Metal. Cordell Jackson was right there, and he'll lock him up.
I'm sure a lot of the guys playing for Montreal are watching this game too, and we're talking a lot about the Argos, covering this game and how they could, make a lot of noise in the playoffs with all their different phases and the talent that they have. I would suggest it's difficult to judge Montreal's last 3 or 4 games in that they have locked up first throughout that whole time. I mean, you're trying to put that full effort out there every single game as a player, but I think when it's all locked up and it's not sort of do or die, it's difficult.
Here's Arbuckle down the field again, and they'll stop it at the 5, but a first down. Tommy Nell.
Now, having said that, Montreal plays Winnipeg tomorrow. It's important for the Bombers to try and lock up first place. And it's important for Montreal to get on a roll, just like the panel was talking about at halftime with Ottawa. Ottawa to get that win tonight, just to have that good feeling to sort of validate the process again.
I don't see a world where Jason Maas, after what happened last week in Vancouver, just sort of mails it in against the Bombers.
I'm just saying all the pundits that are making the sort of the idea that the Argos may be the best team in the Eastern playoffs. I don't think you can judge Montreal the last 4 weeks.
From the 5, tackle made by Cordell Jackson.
They're still the best team because they earned it. They earned it through the regular season with their 12 wins so far, and they could make that 13 if they win tomorrow against Winnipeg. And if they do win tomorrow against Winnipeg, you and I will be calling that Sask game, which means something to Sask and something to Calgary too, because they'd love to foil them in Mosaic.
Oh, in Mosaic, yeah. Chatting with Jake Mayer earlier in the week, he goes, it doesn't matter what's on the line. It would be special to win at Mosaic. So we'll have that for you tomorrow. On the ground here, McMahon to the end zone. He's in. Touchdown, Toronto. 4th rushing touchdown of this season for McMahon.
Tremendous quickness from Deontay McMahon. He just, look at that jump cut back outside, little dip in his shoulder there, made it very difficult for a defensive line, and then demonstrates a little bit of balance with that left hand going down on the ground and reaching over with the football across the plane.
Kept the elbow up too.
Yeah,
sort of.
Yeah, if the elbow touches, he's behind the line, but he didn't.
Araulahu for an 11-point cushion. And he sneaks that one inside the left upright. 10 plays, 70 yards, 6 minutes, a touchdown for McMahon. In the third quarter tonight, and this is quite the honor. Earlier in the week, let's send it down to Tommy Gazzola.
Yeah, really cool story, Dusty, about former Argo Fred Thomas, who was posthumously inducted into the Canadian Sports Hall of Fame this week. He was a guy that joined the Army in the RCAF in 1943. He was a fantastic multi-sport athlete, ended up playing some pro basketball in the 40s, and then wound up with the Argos in 1949. He was also a really, really good basketball player, to the point where he was brought in by the Harlem Globetrotters, and this is a guy that was once dubbed the greatest Canadian athlete you've never heard of. Well, that's really no longer the case. Going into the Canadian Sport Hall of Fame, he died in 1981, guys, and goes in with some other great Canadian athletes. Daniel Nestor, the tennis player, of course, Patrick Chan, figure skating, and Vicky Sunahara, among many others. So a great story there about Fred Thomas.
Quite the honor and quite the resume for Fred Thomas.
No question, and congratulations to the family. As Tom mentioned, passed away in 81.
'49 with the Argos. 2nd and 10 from the 46 for Arbuckle, and that is broken up nicely there by Anderson, as that was a pretty well thrown ball into Brissett.
Well, this is the other part of Nick Anderson's game that he doesn't get enough credit for. He can wall off. I mean, he can play this coverage where he walls off a receiver. Basically, he wants to take the inside away, and if the receiver tries to cross his face there and get inside like Brissett did, he has to go through Nick Anderson to get there.
So 3rd and 10. Haggerty will kick it away. Stands just outside his own 30, lets it fly from the 35. That'll be taken by Mitchell, the 15, picks his way along the sideline, stays on his feet, nice return, takes it out beyond the 40.
Venom, The Last Dance.
.337 remaining here in the third quarter.
I think right now you're seeing the difference between a playoff team and a non-playoff team.
Just in the execution in this football game, regardless of who's playing.
You know, and the non-playoff team has made some plays, the long one to Javon Leake, and, you know, there's been some plays, but they've also committed 11 fouls for 105 yards versus 2 penalties for the Argos for 25 yards.
Those are things that add up.
Yeah. And that it's just, and it looks like they're marching another one off here.
This will be backed up inside the 30 for Trey Ford. Ford is 7 for 11, 114 yards and a touchdown, 112 of those yards coming in the first half of this ballgame, first quarter, I guess I should say.
Well, that wasn't the 12th penalty that they moved back on. Apparently, Dylan Mitchell stepped out of bounds a little earlier than they thought upon further review.
Mitchell doesn't have a catch yet in this game. 727 yards, 4 touchdowns on the season. Also been available for every single game this year. Argos are going to bring a little bit of pressure. They'll hand it off. Heavy collision at the 30. Rankin bounced off of it and ended up out of bounds after picking up a couple of yards.
The #1 team defensively in the league this year in the creating turnovers department has been Saskatchewan. We'll see them tomorrow night against Calgary at Mosaic Stadium. But #2 on that list is the Toronto Argonauts. I think early in the season, the first quarter of the season, that Montreal was the leader in that regard, but it's been Saskatchewan in the second half and Toronto #2.
Ford over the middle, first down, out beyond the 45. As he goes back to Smith.
No, it's interesting. I've heard many, talk about how they sort of need to see Trey Ford throw from the pocket to really be convinced that he can be a starter. First of all, I think he can throw from the pocket. In fact, when he went, I think it was last game, his first 14 in a row completions, most of those throws were from the pocket. However, did they ask? I'm not going to call Ricky Ray a good player until I see him throw from the run, on the run.
It was always amusing when Ricky got out on the run.
Well, yeah, because it never happened. I mean, Trey Ford is a different athlete. He's a different style of player. And if you build an offense around him, an offense that suits his skill set, and then believe in him, what's the ceiling look like for Trey Ford?
Do you think they've reined him back a bit on the running game this year? He doesn't seem to be taking off as much. I don't know if it's a personal decision from Trey or if it's the way.
I think he was, and then he got hit in that BC game, and he was injured there. That slowed that sort of thing down for him.
Ball pops out here, dropped at the 45, and Edmonton does recover. David Foucault.
I don't think they've held him back from running it. What they have done, I think, is for whatever reason decided that he hasn't been ready to be the guy, and that I mean, every quarterback, the best in the business, have fumbled. The best in the business have thrown interceptions.
Takes it at the 15, back to the 20, finds the sideline, and steps out of bounds at the 26.
But I would suggest that Edmonton needs to very quickly make the decision. I think the president's decision's already been made, just not announced.
Yeah, we're expecting that to be announced at some point in October. There's a little bit of time left, I guess, but.
Okay, so the trickle-down effect from that will be GM. Is it G. Roy Simon staying on as the general manager of this team, or do they make a change there, and then from there it goes to the coaching staff? And
do you see a world where G. Roy stays on and Jarius doesn't? Or is it a package deal, maybe?
Listen, I think there's an argument to be made for keeping the group they've got together, and there's an argument made for not. And with new ownership and possibly wanting a fresh start. And not just new ownership, but ownership that went from publicly owned to privately owned. And, I would say it's probably more likely the fresh start route, but that's not from inside information or anything like that. It's just kind of watching from the outside looking in. And
I think the general idea around a new owner taking over, and with the way things have gone here for the last few years, it just makes sense that a complete reset should be in the cards. Empty backfield here for Arbuckle, and that is broken up. Anderson working against Mital, and that'll do it. 3 quarters in the books. Edmonton trying to finish their season on a high note, but the Argos have other ideas so far. They lead 20-9. McMahon to the end zone again.
Everyone has different backgrounds, and I think that is very important that all backgrounds get represented.
Coming up, the Argos, who knows, maybe just getting started with the playoffs just around the corner, and they lead here in a game that, you know, people say doesn't really mean much, but boy, the group would like a win.
Well, we've talked about a lot of players that it does mean a lot for us, even for Edmonton, who are no longer in the playoff hunt, but they do have jobs on the line. They do have coaches' jobs on the line, and, you know, quarterbacks and how they're going to decide and what direction they're going to go in the offseason there. So, yeah, it's always important. I mean, it's not important for Edmonton in the standings, but it's important. I was like, Dylan Mitchell going, I can't. He got there.
Focused enough to get it done. Edmonton will have the ball here as we get rolling in the fourth quarter.
How about Dylan Mitchell this year? You know, like a good year. You know, a good solid year. 87 targets coming in, 58 catches, 727 yards. You know, he had the sophomore jinx year.
Yeah.
Comes back with a good solid year.
The ball's in the flight. Legal interference.
I just wonder about you know, the upside potential of this guy. And I'm not sure that upside potential has been realized just yet. Now, you know, a lot of that could be that there's a lot of good targets like Geno Lewis and things like that. You only have one football, and again, quarterback changes and inconsistency at times there could be part of it, but
the skill set is there.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. The skill set is there, and the upside is there. And I would say it's a good but not great season for Dylan Mitchell this year.
Edmonton number 80. It's a 10-yard penalty. It's first down, Edmonton.
I thought they were going to throw a flag on the smoke.
And it doesn't just need to be, Dustin, a 1,000-yard season. Like, you know, just to get to 1,000 is awesome, obviously. But you don't have to get there to have a great year. I mean,
discussing Geno Lewis moving up the list. And most consecutive games with the TD catch, now tied with Milt, second all-time at 8.
I think Milt will have a problem with us moving him below, even though they're tied. Look at the hands, active hands from Geno Lewis here, not just at the line of scrimmage, but also when the ball's about to arrive. Just enough to subtly push Benzie Franklin his hands down and get him out of the way, little subtle push, and then that back shoulder catch.
This will be taken at the 24, far side of the field by McMahon, and he spins his way just outside the 40. 10 on the year, 8 games in a row, and the dance to boot.
Thriller? No, I don't think so. Last time Toronto played Ottawa in the playoffs, you have to go back a bit. That was Damon Allen. Donnie Wilson, pick 6 for the Argos. You know who else? That's Duke Ellingson for the Ottawa Rough Riders. 2 words back then, and guess who that is?
I think it's Pinball inside those shoulder pads.
Yes. Pinball with the extra large shoulder pads.
Arbuckle dumps it off. Nice little sidestep there from McMahon, and then slashing in. Cordell Jackson said his name quite a bit tonight.
And in the house, a couple of former star players, both in Mookie Mitchell to the right here in Edmonton and Toronto.
Oh, Jarius Jackson, is he coaching in his last game as head coach of Edmonton. For more on his future, let's send it down to Tom Gazzola.
Dusty, he certainly hopes not. He likes being a head coach of a CFL franchise and has enjoyed a 6-6 record to this point. He's got 6 minutes here, his team does, to make up a 5-point deficit. But Jarius Jackson also said that when he came into this situation with interim GM Geroy Simon, a lot of guys could have been discouraged. Him and Geroy didn't look at it this way. They just went to work every day, and he said he really enjoys having a positive effect on young football players with the common goal of winning. And he says that he's still got that competitive spirit from his days as a quarterback. So he says he's taking it year by year, but he definitely wants to remain as a head coach in this league.
Well, decisions to be made for sure at every level of this organization, from the top to the bottom.
Yeah, and you know, that's the tricky part about it, because Geroy Simon, you know, you could really quickly deduce that, you know, he would look to let Jarius Jackson come back and get a good start, get a training camp and all that. I mean, there has been improvement, definite improvement in the second half. Not that it was all on Chris Jones, but definite improvement in this team in the second half. And we've talked about in the first half tonight about all the pieces they have to the puzzle and all the talent they have on both offense and defense. I mean, look at their backfield alone. Javon Leake and Justin Rankin.
Trey Ford looking to throw here. Wide open, out at the 30, and off to the races we go this time. Near side of the field, Jernick Smith takes it down to the 30 and finally tracked down at the 25. Biggest play of his young CFL career. Trey Ford blows past 200 yards passing in the game.
Well, there'll be times offensively when a guy will spring open, often a bust in the coverage, but it's up to the quarterback to find him. And that's what Trey Ford does there. He finds Smith. Smith wide open in the bust, although protection's so good that by the time he crossed the field, he was wide open on the opposite side, but Trey Ford found him.
Smith, this is his third game of the year. Only had one catch in the other two games. 29-year-old getting an opportunity here late in the season. He was in the mix early in the year, then they brought
out of bounds or hook slides, because this is a big part, important part of his game. Almost impossible to track down, especially for big defensive linemen.
First and goal from the Argo 10. Can Edmonton finish a drive here and take the lead? They'll hand it off to the 10, down to the 5, pushing towards the end zone, and he's in. Touchdown Elks. Justin Rankin has his 5th rushing TD of the season. Edmonton leads 21-20.
And will likely go for 2 to make it a 3-point game. Take a look at the blocking up front. Left side, nice job opening up that hole with a pulling guard coming through the hole, and good blocking up front for Justin Rankin.
Rankin following Grahovic all the way to the end zone. Can they make it a 3-point game? They tried to go for 2 last time. Incomplete pass. Dylan Mitchell at the top of your screen. Geno Lewis one-on-one at the bottom against Benji Franklin. Ford over the middle, back of the end zone, got him. Smith, who started the drive with a big catch of 71 yards, finishes the 2 points. And Edmonton leads 23-20 with 3:14 left.
Yeah, this wasn't a short half-field drive. This was a long drive of 98 yards, but it only took 4 plays. Because Jermaine Smith with the big run over 70 yards here, wide open against the busted coverage for the Argos. Trey Ford got involved getting his legs going and taking off through the B gap between the guard and the tackle for a big gain and a first down, a rank and run for the touchdown. 4 plays, 98 yards, 2 minutes, and the Elks have the lead.
Edmonton won 2 of their last 5. Had things going well. They'd won 5 of 6. And then they played Winnipeg back-to-back, dropped them both. Lost to the Riders, beat Calgary to complete the season sweep of the Stamps. And now we'll look to wrap up here with a win, which would give them a 5-4 record in their last 9 and 7-4 in their last 11 if they can seal this one away.
Well, that's what I mean, you know, improvement. There's definitely been improvement, and that's the argument for the return of Jarius Jackson.
It's a good point. Jarius Jackson can go to whoever becomes president or GM and say, I was 7-4 in my last 11 games. If they close. Long way to go in this one. Here's McMahon on the return. Sidestep that last tackler before being taken down.
Shop over 1,000 new deals every week at Canadian Tire.
Nick Arbuckle gets the ball. Looking to lead a game-tying or game-winning drive here. Argos have been outscored 39-0 in their last 2 fourth quarters. 25 against Ottawa, 14 here. Can they close this one? Starts on their own 37. Arbuckle gets that one away quickly, all the way up to the 50. Big chunk of what they need for Brissett.
Took a big hit from Kai Gray to give him the catch.
Ruling on the field, is it incomplete?
Saying incomplete.
They're going to say it's incomplete. So 2nd and 10 when we return.
Hey Argos fans, thanks for hanging out with us tonight for the Argos Week 21 matchup. 2021, I don't know, the bye weeks, all this stuff. But we're here for the last regular season game. The Elks of Edmonton hosting the Argos. This game really doesn't matter for the Argos because they are in the playoff spot to face the Ottawa Red Blacks in the Eastern semifinal next Saturday, which we will be live for right here on Toronto Sports Insider, every single game of the CFL playoffs right here on TSI. Thank you so much for being here. Let us know in the chat where you're watching from. If you're new, hit that subscribe button, turn on the bell so you don't miss it for any of our Toronto sports action. And make sure you like and share this link out so we can keep building this Argos community all the way through the Grey Cup. Let's go get it, Argos fans. Cheers, everybody.
Well, welcome back to Commonwealth, where somebody celebrates a 40th birthday. Johnny Matheson, our ace stats guy, forced to wear a Maple Leafs jersey as a child, but celebrates his 40th birthday.
Congrats,
Happy birthday,
man.
Johnny.
Happy birthday.
As Mike Gundy, college football coach, once said, congratulations, you're a man now. Come after him. He's 40. Done a great job all season long with us. The big 4-0. It
was a while ago.
Lots of, I wasn't going to say it. Lots of life left to live for Johnny. Here's a nice catch. Mital takes it up. Nice. Midfield still going down to the 40, and finally he's taken down and knocked out of bounds. His longest catch of the season comes at just the right time for the Argos, who are making quick work of this field.
Yeah, is it just me, or is he a big 6'1", 229? I mean, he looks like a big 6'1".
Big boys out for the Argos here. First and 10 from the Edmonton 34. Arbuckle on the run to his right. Drops it off at the 25. And that's out of bounds. Tommy Neal had that one.
Well, they're in field goal range now to tie the game and extend it into overtime.
The final Friday Night Football of the year gives us overtime. What a storyline.
Well, 29 of the 77 games this year have been decided in the 4 points or less and decided in the last 3 minutes. And this is yet another one down to the wire.
Another first down from the 23. And flag.
Go. And Nick Anderson can't get out there. Neither can the halfback. Touchdown. McMahon. Design play to get him out in space. But 150 is lots of time.
Lots of time. 10-yard misconduct foul. Toronto number 83. That 10-yard penalty will be applied on the kickoff. We'll move to the convert.
First receiving touchdown of the year for McMahon. Prior to that, he had the 3 rushing touchdowns coming into this one and then picked up another one tonight as well. If you started him in your weekly fantasy lineup, pretty pleased with the evening.
Big single point.
And that is a big point as it gives Toronto a 4-point cushion, and Edmonton will need to find the end zone. What a drive put together by Arbuckle.
Kevin Mittal was the big play that got the positive field position, got the offensive drive rolling, but McMahon on that design swing pass to get him out in space, get him one-on-one. It looked like Nick Anderson was in charge of covering him, and he got kind of caught up in the wash and didn't get out there. But either way, whether it was against that man or zone defense, well-executed touchdown throw. So now Trey Ford and the 10-yard penalty applied on this kickoff helps in the field position with 1:50 to go for Trey Ford to try and put together one more drive.
Arbuckle's at 322 yards after coming into the game for the injured Cam Dukes. A couple of touchdowns.
And without Kadeem Carey, without DeMonte Coxey for most of this game, and without Mackay Pope for the second half of this game.
Pretty impressive.
The big play guys. Not to mention 2 or 3 of the offensive linemen that are starters not playing for the Argos. But I don't think, even though he took the lead, Ryan Dinwiddie's very happy at this point. Didn't look like he's enjoying it with 1:50 left.
Leak and Purifoy are back on the kick. This will be drilled into Purifoy, takes it.
Boy, didn't hesitate. Tried to loosen up the Argo defensive backfield by just taking that shot down the field to a guy he hasn't targeted all game long.
So it'll be 2nd and 10. Eugene Lewis, one-on-one at the bottom of your screen. Dylan Mitchell to the top. 3 options to the wide side right for Ford. A 3-man pressure, a flag as he takes off. Midfield, they'll track him down and take him down. Right at midfield, but a flag as he escaped from the pocket.
Jared Brinkman's trying to put his jersey back over his shoulder pad.
Offside, Edmonton number 84. Penalty is declined. It's 3rd down.
Tevin Jones offside.
Sometimes that indicates holding, but not in this case.
So the penalty decline. Ball sits at midfield.
Yeah, makes it 3rd down.
It'll be 3rd and 8. Ford's got to find a way here.
3-man pressure. He's going to have to get out into space where he can run or throw.
Javon Leak, the running back, to his left.
Oh, here they come.
They're going to bring some heat. Ford gets it away, batted down at the line. Falls incomplete, and it'll be a turnover on downs.
Is that Jack Cassard making the play? Getting a chance to play the Carleton product. 11th overall pick, second round, getting a chance to start after leading his team in special teams tackles when they're going to rest Winton McManus. He comes right through the middle, head-to-head with the center, and gets the knockdown.
Nice. Good play.
First team All-Canadian with Carleton. First start of the year for him. It's been a quiet one, but that's a big play on third down because Trey Ford had the hot route.
Arbuckle trying to lead Toronto to their 4th consecutive win. Edmonton this year against the East was not good. Just one victory against the East this year, though, on the verge of falling to 1-7. Second and 12. On the ground again. Back to the original line of scrimmage.
Let's go back to that down. Let's go back to that third down play.
Timeout,
because
Edmonton.
Show you what Trey Ford was facing. The blitz is coming, and they send the blitz, and what they need here is a hot route. And the receivers have got to recognize quickly that the blitz is coming. Stop it there. See this receiver, and I can't see the number, but that receiver's got to be right there and recognize to make himself available. He can't just run his dig route at the same depth with that kind of pressure coming. Even though it's knocked down, I mean, it might not have been completed anyway because Cassar was in the right place, but that's just the little things missing.
Edmonton will get the ball back. Haggerty stands at his 40, a chance to really pin them deep here. That will bounce at the 20. Couple of hops. Taken just outside the 10. Pushed back up towards the 20. And they'll get one more crack at it. 49 seconds, but you need the distance of the field. Got to be a deep shot or two in the cards here.
Yeah, a couple of chunk plays. Doesn't necessarily have to be that, 80, 90-yarder, but a couple of deep plays. Now the Argo defensive backfield will play off a little bit. They're going to give them a little room underneath.
Leak in at running back. Rankin will watch from the sideline. 2 to the left, 2 to the right. Ford, far side of the field, down to the 50. Held onto by Eugene Lewis, and just like that, Edmonton is in business.
And just like that, I mentioned that the Argos will play off a bit, and they really didn't. I mean, there's Gino Lewis at the wideout, and that's basically the alignment that DBs will play at any time in the game, not when they've got a lead and have to try to protect it. The one thing they can't do is give up the big play.
88 yards on the night for Gino. All the way up to the Toronto 40. 3 on the defensive line. 42 seconds to work. Ford, will he take off himself? No! A shot down the field! Touchdown, Edmonton! Zach Mathis! The Elks go back on top with 34 seconds left.
2 big throws from Trey Ford to get it done. And yeah, they're out of the playoffs, and this is supposed to not mean anything, but you guarantee it does for a lot of players, including number 2. And he goes to Mathis on that one. Gino Lewis on the play before. And in under a minute, put the Elks back on top.
First CFL touchdown for Mathis as Trey Ford finds his roommate.
first one to Geno Lewis on that deep play was just straight man-to-man. This is an inside receiver going deep, and I think the Argos' Mark Milton is going to trip here or stumble on his own player. Number 27 is supposed to have the deep outside third, and he trips on his teammate. And Zach Mathis in the end zone.
That's another piece they're excited about here in Edmonton. Big guy. 6'7", 203, 24 years old, has family on the East Coast. Three passing touchdowns, 325 yards, a career high for Trey Ford.
And no matter what happens, Trey Ford has done this, and now he's brought him back against the Argos playoff team. Yes, a lot of their starters not playing, but before that narrative gets out of hand, I would suggest that Trey Ford's stock has gone up again.
325, 3 touchdowns, plus 81 yards on the ground for Ford. McMahon, still time. They just need a field goal to tie. McMahon cuts it back, finds a little bit of space. What a move.
Something now.
He'll take it up to the 35. A little bit of time on that one, so there's 26 seconds left, but a couple of completions, and you can take a crack at it. What a finish to Friday Night Football.
3 plays, maybe 4. Very efficient. And this time the Elks can't play off. They've got to play their defense. Play aggressively. Don't give Arbuckle the underneath stuff, because 3 outs in a row here at about 10 yards puts Hairolahu right in his field goal range.
They'll start on their own 38. 26 seconds to work with. Elks will only send 4. Arbuckle down to the 50s. Got it turning around. Nice catch. Tommy Neal starts this drive nicely. And the Argos creeping towards field goal range.
And the Elks do play bump coverage on that last one. So they are playing aggressively, or at least they did on that last down. Now they're playing off.
Career long of 56 for Hairolahu. Arbuckle down the field to the 41. There's a flag at the end of the play down by Arbuckle. It's caught by Ungerer, and the Argos are within field goal range.
I think it's roughing the passer. At least that's what Nick Arbuckle is signaling.
Major foul, roughing the passer.
Yeah.
Edmonton number 97. 15 yards at the end of the play and a first down.
Well, now you're taking a shot at the end zone.
The second penalty, I believe, at the same thing for Christmas, and he just, again, he didn't have to do that. He could avoid it after the ball was gone. You didn't have to throw him to the ground. Last one was sort of a two-hand push.
Timeout, Toronto. Timeout, Toronto.
But you're right. Right now the Argos can take a shot at the end zone and the win in regulation time, knowing that they're in comfortable field goal range to extend the game if they don't make it. But they got to be efficient. This got to be like a fade route. If it's not there, get down. Don't lose the opportunity to tie it.
Oh, the final 3 minutes in the Canadian Football League is delivered again. Arbuckle's at 3:54. What a game. The work from the Edmonton 25. Down by 3. Elks send 4. Arbuckle dumps it off to McMahon.
Lots of time.
At the 15, pushes it down towards the 10, and he goes down with 4 seconds on the clock. Do you just go for the win here if you're the Argos?
Well, the Argos want to continue to...
They're going to kick it.
Yeah, they want to continue to work on good habits. And that I would think that means coaching decisions as well, and making sure you're continuing to work on good habits. And conventional wisdom would say take the tie, go to overtime, extend the game.
Essentially a chip shot here for Hairolahu. to force overtime on a Friday night.
If it was
at Commonwealth
and Edmonton, I might have gone for it. If it was Edmonton with this situation.
To deadlock it at 30, a flag flies as he knocks it home. And it is 30-30 between the Argos and the Elks. What a finish.
Legal procedure. 7 men lined up on the side of the defense against Edmonton. The penalty is declined. Field goal is good. That's the end of regulation.
29 points going into the fourth quarter. 31 points in the fourth quarter of this football game. And we'll get a little bit more here in Edmonton.
And how about Nick Arbuckle? 3/4 of the field in less than 40 seconds to tie the game. And well over 300 yards passing, replacing Cameron Dukes in the first half.
So overtime to wrap up this season for the Elks. And a little bit more prep, I guess, for the Argos as they get set to host the East Semi at home against Ottawa. Here are your overtime rules. The teams will play a maximum of 2 mini games. Each team will scrimmage from the opponent's 35-yard line to attempt to score after a touchdown. You got to go for 2, and the team who scores the most points in the mini game will earn 2 points in the standings.
They'll do another coin toss at midfield. Winner of the coin toss gets the choice, either take the ball first or play defense first.
These two teams met in June. Toronto won that one 39-36. Another tight one here.
Okay, men, welcome to overtime. We have a coin toss. League logo is heads. Team logo is tails. Toronto, you're going to call tails. Toronto's called tails. It is a head.
We want to be on defense.
We want to go on defense first. Which side of the field are we going to play on? Down there, or are we going to play down there?
We're going to play down here.
Okay, we're going to start down here. Edmonton's on defense first.
All right, so the Argos will get first crack at it. Edmonton will know what they need to do.
Ryan Didwinny, 46-21 coming into this game as the head coach of the Argos. Has never had a losing season since taking over back in 2021. And with a win, could go to 11 wins on the season this year. Straight year, third straight year in double figures. Got some work to do in overtime to get it done. So Edmonton wins the toss. Every time you win the toss, I've seen in overtime, it hasn't happened a lot, but when it does, we've had a couple this year. The team that wins the toss always wants to play defense first. Pick 6 here wins the game.
Well, that'd be fun to call. I mean, just as a broadcaster in general, pick 6 to win the game. That'd be something. Arbuckle already has 370 pass yards. Career high for him. Throwing here from the 40, trying to. Can he escape? Gets it away, and that one falls incomplete. Mital turned, didn't see it in time, and there's a flag back at the 50. Which way is this going to go?
Major foul, unnecessary roughness. Toronto number 56. It's going to be second down from the 50-yard line.
It's George Moore. Backs him up to the 50. It goes push out at the end of the play.
A little push at the end, yeah.
Second.
Out of field goal range now. That's big.
And 25. from the Edmonton 50 over the middle. That is caught, complete tackle made by Morgan. Tommy Neal has them back at least within field goal range, and that is what they will attempt to do.
Long on the season for Hairola, who's 51.
If he hits this here, it'll be a single season franchise record for the Argos. 49-yarder just inside the far hash. Hairola to give Toronto the lead. That is up, and it is no good. That'll be brought out by Javon Leake. Leake will take it up to the 10. And that is where he will be taken out of bounds. So any points will end it for the Elks. Second miss of the night.
Well, and you start on the 35, so you're in field goal range already. So really, Jarius Jackson can run the ball a couple of times, get the ball right in the middle.
And then you set it up for a kicker making his CFL debut tonight. Imagine this, an opportunity for Blanchard to walk it off in his first game.
Like the lace didn't get all the way around on the hold, but it wasn't kicked by Hairola. Just looked like you pulled it there.
A victory sitting here in front of Edmonton. Can they grab it? They'll start on the 35. Hand it off. A yard, maybe two on that first down carry.
Ball security is so important now for Edmonton on these two runs. Try to get it right in the middle.
There's a look at Blanchard warming up on the sideline.
One of those situations where throw the ball in my zone. Give me a chance to be the guy with the game on the line. His first game, Vincent Blanchard gets a chance. See what they got here. We'll run up the middle.
2nd and 9. Ford's going to throw, fakes it. Now towards the end zone for Eugene Lewis. No, broken up. McFadden got a hand on it. Would have been a game winner. And now it'll be a field goal attempt for the rookie.
Would have been a game winner or an interception. That would put us to a second overtime. That's a gutsy call when you're in field goal range already. Now I know you got a young kicker, and maybe that was part of the decision here from Jarius Jackson to go deep.
Blanchard's on the sideline. Looked like they were going to have Jake Julian just hammer one through.
We're going to try to punt for a single to win it. I don't know about this.
They're going to attempt the punt single for the win.
The problem with this is the punter is 15 yards from the line of scrimmage. The field goal kicker is 7 yards.
Jake Julian, in a year in which he has set the CFL all-time record for punting yardage, hammers it away, looking for the Rouge, and the win. Got it! A walk-off Rouge to end the season and win it for Edmonton. That just happened.
Well, I know there are many in the country that think this is a rule that could be tweaked. To not be able to kick for a Rouge to win. That if that ball is not playable and goes out of the back of the end zone without a chance to be played by the Argos, that they would not count it as a single. That would be the tweak. But he has been hammering it all year. It just, the risk in this kind of call for Jarius Jackson is the punter is another 8 yards back from the line of scrimmage, so he has to nail it. And the chances of it going off the side of your foot or whatever when a punter drops it is a little bit higher than the hold for a field goal. Now, I know they have the young kicker in Blanchard. That was probably part of the decision, but the Elks win their last game.
What a way to go out, I guess. 31-30. Your final. Edmonton finishes with 7 wins on the season. Jarius Jackson, will he be the head coach of this team next time we see them? And what about Trey Ford? Makes a case for himself once again. 325 yards, 3 touchdowns through the air, 81 yards on the ground as well for Trey Ford. The Argos head to the playoffs. The Elks head home. The only team in the league to purposely win on a rouge this season. What a finish to Friday Night Football. SportsCenter's next.